Hello everybody, Raven Knight here, and welcome to this month's update video. That's right, it's April, and there's a lot to talk about. Guys, this month is going to be very unique. If you couldn't tell from my voice, I'm a little tired, and that's from a lot of stuff already kicking the month off pretty strong. There's a lot going on, a lot I need to share. This is going to be a very serious video. I ask that you please watch from beginning to end so that you get all the details and all the information you need, because there's going to be some changes. There's going to be some interesting stuff coming to the channel. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Let's start off with the typical shill. For those of you who are brand new to the channel, I welcome you, and I would like to let you know that this channel is largely sponsored by viewers like you. I do work a couple of jobs to make sure that I'm financially stable. YouTube does give me some money, but not a great deal. So in order for me to continue releasing content regularly and being able to keep you guys entertained with what I release, it would really help me out if you guys would consider supporting the channel. There are lots of ways you can do it. You can donate via Super Chat during live streams. You can watch ads when they pop up on videos, but there are also direct ways you can do it too. I have a Teespring store where you can buy some awesome merchandise. We have an Easter set of t-shirts that are coming out, which I think you guys may like, but beyond that, there's mugs, there's blankets, there's shirts, there's even some pants. Like, we've released a lot of really cool stuff drawn by some very talented artists and friends of mine who I will introduce in just a minute. And other than Teespring, I also have a Patreon where you can donate up to $1 a month, and even that, as minor as it sounds, would really help out the channel. So if you wouldn't mind, please consider donating and helping out the channel. It would mean the world to me. Links are all in the description. Now, before we continue with the updates about what's coming to the channel, let me introduce the two folks who, without whom, I would not be able to continue this channel. Hannah and Jay. Hannah Hiring is a friend of mine who I've known for many, many years, probably longer than any other friend that I currently have. She and I met right before I started college. She's a fantastic artist and a really good friend. She's the one who drew the chibi version of Raven. She also draws a lot of female versions of me that we affectionately call Claire. All that stems from a joke that, if you want to know the details behind that, go check out the previous update video where I go into details about that and my questions of the day near the end. But more than that, Hannah has been a supportive person and very encouraging to me, and that means more to me than any art that she ever does. Although the art is awesome, she draws a lot of the art that you see on the Teespring store. Would very much love it if you could give her some love and some support by checking out her Instagram page. That link is in the description. You might be able to commission her. Go talk to her there if you like. You've been seeing her art scroll across the screen. I hope that enticed you or interested you. She's just a phenomenal friend and a phenomenal artist. Go give her some love. And then there's Jay. Jay and I haven't known each other as long as I've known Hannah, but I feel like I've known him forever. He's a wonderful friend. He's a spiritual counselor, advisor, and accountability partner. And what that means is, since we're both Christian and both very strong and devout in our faith, when we struggle, we often come to each other for guidance and just to lay problems on each other. He's a very great guy, and beyond that, he's a fantastic artist, a actual published comic artist. He's drawn some fantastic works that he's published. He's more of an action comic kind of drawer. He does some really neat stuff. You're seeing some of his stuff scroll across the screen. It was him who designed the Raven Lord avatar that you've seen so much. But beyond that, he's also drawn some really, really cool sketches and designs and art. I know you guys are going to love his work. Go check out his Instagram, which is also in the description, and you may be able to commission him as well. Hannah and Jay are two fantastic friends. If it wasn't for their art and contributions to the channel, seriously, this channel would not be where it is. I appreciate both of them for the donation of their art and for their time and support. It means the world to me, especially as things have changed so much for me lately. Jay, Hannah, thank you guys so much. And you guys, don't forget to support them and the channel. All right, with all that out of the way, on to the big stuff. So first of all, I want to get started with the obvious. I'm very tired. And a lot of it is mostly from the new job, this long-term subbing thing I'm doing. Essentially what happened is, at the local high school, a science teacher for freshmen is going on maternity leave. She's having a baby, which is awesome. But they asked me, since I'm a sub who occasionally comes to that school, if I would be willing to take a permanent substitute job there and fill in for her for the rest of the year. I didn't think it was a big deal at first, but over the last few days that I've been doing it, it's been wearing on me. The students can be very difficult. The subject matter is not something that I'm super familiar with. It's very, very trying. It can be very, very exhausting, so that when I come home, I just feel worn out, absolutely exhausted, and that makes playing games difficult too. Because if I'm already exhausted, I can't focus as well on the games, and that makes it difficult to make content based on those games, because I constantly have bad match after bad match after bad match. And then that gets me angry at the game when I shouldn't be. You know, it's not a healthy thing. So it's very exhausting sometimes to have to deal with that. Now, I'm not complaining, and I'm not saying, oh, this is so bad. And I'm also not saying I'm quitting or I'm taking a break, because if I were to take a break, I don't finish this job until June. So that's not in the cards, you know. But with that said, I think it is important that for the time being, until I can collect myself and get myself in order, I may need to refocus on what I work on. I used to release maybe 4 times a week, which is awesome. Now, there are not a lot of YouTubers who can say they can do that, but I'll be honest, I don't think I can keep that schedule up much longer. Not with this kind of schedule that I currently have. I'm probably going to have to upload maybe 2 times a week at most, plus the streams that I do on Friday nights. And I'm also probably going to switch focuses just a little. While I'll still make gaming videos like For Honor, Dead by Daylight, and Rainbow, I'm also going to make some videos more about writing. Because if there's one thing that I have time to do at the school, since I don't have internet, it's write. I can write stories, I can write scripts, I can write a lot of stuff. So because of that, I'm probably going to be realigning my focus on what I release. And I'll talk more about that a little bit later. But that's that. Let's move on to the next thing. I've mentioned it in my previous update video, but I'm planning on starting TEFL certification training. That's Teaching English as a Foreign Language certification, which is an online program that takes a couple months, and when I'm done with it, I'll be certified to teach English in a foreign country or online in a foreign country. And so I'm very excited to do that. I actually plan to start it this April, but with the long-term subbing job, I'm starting to think that's not a good idea to start yet, because I'm already worn out just from doing the subbing job. I can't imagine spending my evenings working on that program as well. So I'm thinking about moving that to the summer. That also gives me more time to practice my Japanese and Korean, because if what I read is correct, if you are somewhat proficient in a foreign language, it increases your odds of getting a job in those countries that speak that language. So I'm practicing my Japanese and my Korean because I know those languages somewhat, and I'd like to get better at them so that I can potentially increase my chances of getting jobs in those countries. It's a little disappointing that I have to wait until the summer to start that, but hey, it does free up my schedule just a little bit, which is necessary at this point. But now let's talk about some good stuff. There is some good stuff. Lark is going on a mission trip this month. He is going to Romania on April 7th, and he'll be there for the rest of his spring break for the entire week. He's really looking forward to it. He's a bit nervous because this is his first time flying. It's with the Young Adult Ministries, but so he's going with friends, but it's a little nerve-wracking. And if any of you of my fans live in Romania and you hear about a missionary group coming to town, Lark might be among them, so say hi to them, you know. But more than that, I would say please pray for them. Pray for safe travels, pray for safety in Romania, and pray for them to have a safe trip back, you know. Like it's a new experience for Lark. I'm super excited for him. I think he'll enjoy it, but say your prayers for him. As for me on spring break, while Lark is away, I'm going to be visiting Mom and Dad for Easter, and then I'm coming back to work a little bit at Longhorns because they'll be short-staffed due to the holidays. So I plan to release some content that week, but at the same time, I'm going to be busy then too. So prayers all around would be very much appreciated. So that's what's going on in the personal life of Raven and Lark. Let's talk about the stuff you're really here for. So what's coming in terms of content? Let's start with For Honor. So my thoughts on year 7 so far. The initial changes, I admit, were not great. I stand with a lot of the people who said that they weren't happy with the changes. I wasn't happy with a lot of them either. I wasn't as negative because I pretty much thought that they were going to fix them, which they have. There have been rapid patches and fixes that have been released every week since the update, which I knew they would. I knew that they would fix a lot of these issues. So all the people out there who were saying, oh, it's dead, I told you. They're not dumb. They know to fix issues when they are released. I thought that the event game mode was very entertaining. I hate that it lost popularity so quick. I also noticed that because of some of the bad changes, there was a noticeable drop-off in player base much earlier than I expected. I expect that to change, especially with the Title II update coming out later. I love the Inquisitor feel. I love the kind of gothic, scary church feel. I think that's really cool. I wish that they explored that a bit more rather than just make it a cosmetic thing, but it's still neat. And yes, for those of you who are wondering, I will do a Warriors In live stream for the Title II update when it is announced when they'll do it. I'll know to take that day off so that I can do that. So, look forward to that. For executions graded, Lawbringer will be the first hybrid I look at. And you might be wondering, well, Raven, when are you going to do him? Well, people have been begging me not to do him yet. They've been saying wait until after April 3rd because he's supposed to get a new execution on April 3rd. So just wait until after that, then do it. So, I will wait. I will wait until after April 3rd to see if he gets a new execution, and then I will do it. So if y'all are wondering why no Lawbringer execution graded, that's why. I'm waiting because y'all asked me to wait. And I do want to address one criticism that I constantly get. I get this all the time. People like to tell me that I'm biased in these. I won't deny that I do have my favorite heroes and my least favorite heroes. That is true. But I do check with other people. I talk to other players of the game and Lark about these grades and see what they think of them. So I do try to get other people involved in this besides just myself. So when people say, oh, you're only doing this because you like this hero or you don't like this hero. No, it's not that. It's mostly because maybe we all agree that this execution is one way or not another. Sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes it happens, but we enjoy doing it all the same. So please bear with us as we continue working on that series. For those of you wondering about heroes in history, that won't be updated until the new hero comes out. For those of you wondering about my thoughts on Jingle, now that she's been out for a while, I think her lore and her look are both really good, but could be better. I stand by my statement that Maiko has the best lore of the lot, but Jingle does come close. Now, as for history videos, a lot of you really liked my Dracula video, my Vlad Dracula video. I want to say a few things about that real quick. First of all, I'm glad you loved it, and I would love to do more history videos like that too, but they take time, a lot of time. In fact, with the Dracula video, I'm willing to admit that a lot of my research and resource came from a very specific book written by Raymond Ibrahim. I borrowed a lot of his ideas. I went to the sources that he recommended, but I did take a lot from him. I'd like to do better than that in my later history videos. I want to take from various sources, not just one. So as I'm working on this next Inquisition video, yes, I'm doing an Inquisition video, it's taking a bit more time because I'm digging through a lot more resources and a lot more research to make sure I get this as good as I possibly can. So bear with me as I work on that. And also, the Versus series. I mentioned this as a possibility that I do a Versus series where I talk about a For Honor hero versus another For Honor hero who would win in real life. I've decided that's a really cool idea. It might be an easy thing to pass the time writing down my notes while I'm at work if I have free time. So who would you like to see matched up first? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, there's one last thing I want to say about For Honor before we move on. I would like it if y'all would bear with me a little bit as I go through this rough patch. Like I said, because of the nature of the job that I'm doing, sometimes I come home and I just do not want to do For Honor. I want to relax, I want to watch a movie or something like that. And if I'm not playing the game, that means content isn't being made for it. Plus, there are times that it becomes difficult because I just know I'm not a great player at the game. I'm not stellar, and there are times I get absolutely destroyed match after match after match, which makes it very hard for me to want to continue playing the game for a while. So sometimes I need breaks, and right now I'm in the middle of a short break with For Honor. So bear with me. I will release content. I still love the game. I still love what it is. There are just times I need to work on other stuff because I've got a lot that I want to put into this channel. So thank you guys for your understanding and your patience with me as I make these videos. All right, enough of For Honor. Let's talk about some other stuff. Dead by Daylight. The analysis series is going well. I really like the Fang Min chapter that came out. I'm going to be releasing a video on Doctor. His script is done. I just need to edit and record. And after that, I will do David King and then The Huntress. Now, people have been asking my opinion about Skull Merchant. I know she's been getting some hate from people, and they say that they don't like her lore. I, for one, actually think that there's some interesting psychology behind her story, and I can't wait to explore it. Although, and to be fair, I will admit her design is not that scary. I would have been much happier if she were a cybernetic or something. Hey, I don't mind cyborg mommies. I think they're cool. So I think that would have been just fine. And then finally, I want to address something else. Spook and Jukes, a Dead by Daylight YouTuber that I actually enjoy, released a video where he said that Dead by Daylight is dying due to 3 factors. The toxic community, the bad killers released, namely Knight and Skull Merchant, and the hackers. I agree with him that the toxic community and the hackers are very bad for the game and aren't helping it. I don't fully agree on the killers part. I think that's a little subjective, but regardless of that, I know that I'm not impartial there. But I will say this, while I don't think the game is necessarily dying, I don't think it's in a healthy place. Spook later released a video about how he recognized that he's not one of the most popular content creators. And I would say this to Spook. I know you probably don't watch my video, brother, but I want to say this to you. You're probably my favorite content creator for Dead by Daylight, really. You address things that no one else will, and you're very inspiring to me, who is kind of an on and off fan of the game. So I was very interested to hear your take, and I agree with a lot of the things you have to say. So mad respect to you, Spook. Love to talk to you sometime about the nature of the game and the state of it as a person who's very much a casual player. So in response to the notion of whether or not Dead by Daylight is dying, I don't think it's necessarily dying. I just don't think it's in the healthiest of places right now, but I do think it can be fixed. I do think that it can be turned around. So that's my thought on that. All right, moving on from Dead by Daylight, Assassin's Creed Ranked. I get asked about this a lot. When's Odyssey? When's Odyssey? I'm going to be honest, and I'm really sorry to say it. Don't expect it until sometime after June. I'm just going to be real honest. I don't see myself working on it for a while. I'm only halfway through the game, but I just don't have time to focus on playing Odyssey and taking notes and all that on the game. I want to beat the game before I do the video on it, right? And it takes time to get through Odyssey. It's a long, stinking game. And like I said, I'm only halfway. So until I get done with the subbing job, don't expect the Assassin's Creed Rank. That's on break. That's on hiatus for a little while. All right, so aside from that, Lark's Lamentations. Lark is taking a brief break from the NCR video to enjoy other games right now. He wants to have some fun before his trip, and when he returns, you can probably expect the NCR video after that. He is excited to do it, but he wants to enjoy himself a little bit before he has to go, and I totally get it. Now, here's an interesting topic that I want to talk to you about. Wolong Fallen Dynasty. I beat the game. It was very fun. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was a great, energetic game from Team Ninja. Felt very similar to Nioh 2. A very similar feel. I really, really liked it. It was a struggle at first, but once I got used to it, I enjoyed it. So, now, here's the obvious question. Which do I think is better? Wolong or Nioh 2? Well, in terms of graphical quality, character design, and fight choreography, I'd say, yeah, Wolong is better than Nioh 2. But in terms of mechanics and combat, I would argue Nioh 2 is better. Here's the reason I say that. Now, I might do a full video on this, but here's the reason. It's deceptive. The game presents a lot of things like tools, throwing knives, and magic systems to deceive you into thinking you have a lot of options in how to play. In reality, you only need one way. Like, for example, like instead of in Nioh 2, you had weapon trees. You pick a weapon, you work with that weapon, gain proficiency in a weapon, and that allows you to buy or earn new skills and abilities with that weapon. So it encouraged you to kind of pick a style. Like this Nioh 2 run through, I'm going to play with Kusarigama and Spear and have a ninjutsu focus. Or this time I'm mostly going to just use katana but have an onmyo magic focus. You could kind of build your own experience. In Wolong, they don't have weapon skill trees. You pick your weapon and your moveset is set. Because all the movesets are pretty much the same, a certain combination of moves that you can perform, and each weapon has different tiers of ability that you can use, and you can upgrade different weapons to be stronger over time. And instead what you have is you have a magic skill tree. Basically, you pick one of the 5 phases, either wood, lightning, fire, water, metal. Like it was wood, water, fire, earth, and metal, and these gives you access to magical abilities. The problem is the magical abilities really aren't all that great. They don't apply a whole lot of power, and the fighting mechanic system is so different. But the reality is, while it is different and it's not bad, it's deceptive, like I said. In reality, you only need one skill to win. And that's the deflect ability. By deflecting an opponent's attack at the right time, you not only gain stamina and energy with which to fight, but you also open up your opponent to counterattacks. So really, and I'll give you an example. The hardest fight I had in the game was at the first Lubu encounter, where he kept schooling me again and again and again and again. It took me a few days to beat him. But once I mastered the timing and mastered the deflect ability, I beat him, and then every other boss after that, I kind of beat no problem. Lubu, even on the second time I fought him, when he became a demon monster, I beat him first try because I had mastered the deflect capability. The game heavily encourages you to focus on this skill, more so than your martial arts, more so than your magic, more so than anything else. So while I do enjoy the game, and I would recommend you picking it up if you're a fan of action RPG or of the Three Kingdoms period in general, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's better than Nioh 2 because I think the combat mechanics are lesser than what Nioh 2 offered. But that's just my opinion. Now, moving on from that, Rainbow Six Win and Cringe. What did you guys think of the Dokkaebi video? I've started releasing my operator discussions on Rainbow Six Win and Cringe, and I started with Dokkaebi and why I like her, and basically breaking down how to use her and what she has at her disposal. I really enjoyed writing that and making it. I've already got Capcan and Lion set up and ready to work on. I just need to get started on those when I have the free time, so look forward to that. Now, with the gaming stuff out of the way, let's talk about writing. I know that this is not the most popular part of my channel. Most people don't really care for my writing or storytelling. But because of the backtracking I'm taking and the new direction I'm taking in terms of the channel, I do want to focus a little bit more on this. So here's some stuff you can expect. Revenant King chapters 5 and 6 are underway. I'll be releasing those soon. Nomad is getting finished. It only has 2 more chapters to go. Raven Knight's Writing Room, or the Raven's Writing Room, will probably get another episode this month. Death's Diary will be worked on. I'm willing to bet I'll get 2 or 3 more entries of that in. Dragon's Oath chapters 1 and 2 are written and finished. I will be releasing those. I'm just going to really dive into storytelling, guys. I'm going to be diving into my writing and into my passion for telling stories, so you can definitely look forward to that. Again, I know that it's not the most popular thing on my channel, but I would really appreciate it if you guys check those out. It would mean the world to me and would help support the channel in the process. So writing is going to get a heavy focus this next month. I don't know how much, and I don't exactly know what. I'm going to let my muses and my imagination carry me where it will, and we'll see where it goes. So there is that. For response videos, I know a lot of people like response videos. I don't have any planned right now. If you guys find any that you'd like me to make a response video to, or any videos or articles or anything like that, let me know in my Discord, and I'll give it a look. Now for some last big news, and then we'll get to the question of the day. Crash Course Warhammer. I'm discontinuing the series. I will no longer be working on Crash Course Warhammer. This is not because I didn't enjoy making the videos. I did. This is because, as I've been told frequently by not only fans but critics who are lovers of Warhammer, I just don't know enough about the subject matter. There's a lot of things that I don't know. There's a lot of things I'm unfamiliar with. It is difficult for me to have a conversation with people about Warhammer when I'm told, dude, you need to really look into the series more, or dude, if you're going to talk about Warhammer, you need to actually look into the lore. When people tell me that, I can't argue with them. If we were talking about history or combat or stuff like that, that I could have a debate on and say, no, I do know what I'm talking about. But with Warhammer, I just don't. I'm not as familiar. And because of that, I think it's best if I just don't work on it anymore. I think it's best if I just put that aside. I enjoy Warhammer. I think it's fun. But I think it was a poor decision to jump into making content about it. I'm just tired of people telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. And it wouldn't hurt so much if it wasn't for the fact it's true. I don't. So I'm going to put that aside. Will I never talk about Warhammer again? Nah, I'll probably talk about it here and there, and I'll definitely answer questions about it in live streams, as I usually do. But in terms of making lore content about it, nah, I don't think I'm the best for that. So sorry guys if you enjoyed that or if you were waiting on the next one. I really hate it because I was looking forward to working on the Lizardmen next, but I think that it's best to put that aside. Okay? Awesome. So now, with all that out of the way, let's do the jingle.
I've seen unspeakable horrors, and I know pain. It's time for the question of the day.
Yes, guys, it's that time again. It's time to answer the question of the day, one of my favorite parts of the update video, where I answer your questions for me, and you get to learn a little bit more about me in the process. So, let's see what we got. Today's question. Dear Raven, that's me. What do you look for in a woman or relationship? Oh, that's a good question. That's an actually really good question. Well, I won't pretend like I don't have preferences. They say that beggars can't be choosers, right? But I'm definitely a chooser. I have standards, even though I am a beggar. It's sad, guys. In this rapidly changing world where standards are tossed aside and people are more willing and ready to embrace a promiscuous lifestyle of sexual freedom and, in fact, whorish behavior at times, I'm afraid it can be difficult to find women who meet the standards that I have or that men should have, you know? It's really sad. You know, Lark and I constantly are looking for, you know, Miss Wonderful. We're looking for a woman to enter our lives, and we're looking for a girlfriend. But sometimes it can be difficult because either the girls that meet our standards are already taken, or the girls we interact with just, they're not women we'd want to interact with. So what do I look for? First, I want a woman who takes care of herself. True story, when I was in college one time, a bunch of guys were standing around talking about their favorite qualities in women, their breast size, their butt size, you know, their thighs, their lips, all that kind of stuff. They were talking about beauty standards that they have in women. And they asked me, what do I think? I hadn't really been paying much attention, but they asked me, what do you look for in a woman? And I said, their hair. And they asked why. I said, because, a girl can't always help what she's born with in terms of body shape or size, but hair, for the most part, you can control. You can style it, you can cut it in certain ways, you can tie it in certain ways, you can dye it. A woman who takes good care of her hair is a woman who I think cares about her appearance and would care about her appearance around me and for me. So that's something I look for. They kind of laughed at me, but I stand by it. I think that a woman who takes care of herself, who cares about her personal appearance, who respects her body, this is the kind of woman who doesn't have excess body piercings. Ear piercings are fine, but excess body piercings, vulgar tattoos, addictive or destructive habits like drug or substance abuse, all those I would avoid. I prefer them, within a healthy weight range. I would prefer them to, care about how they look, because it's not a matter of, they have to look good for me. No, it's because I know if they care about how they look, then they're going to care about me too and how I look. They're going to care about presenting themselves to other people. They're going to care about keeping our place or our apartment looking good. If they care about how they look, won't that translate to how they look at the world too? I want them to have standards. Also, I want a woman who is glad to learn skills to support herself and me. I don't mind doing household duties like cooking and cleaning. I mean, I do them a lot already. I don't mind doing them. But I would expect my hopeful wife or girlfriend to be willing to learn and adopt these skills themselves, or at least to provide to the relationship in some degree. Relationships are two-way streets. We provide for each other. I once heard a feminist argue that that they basically want a guy who's willing to, do all these things, because how dare you expect a woman to do it? Well, here's the thing. What if I'm not there? What are you going to do? I know how to cook and clean. Great. Do you know how to do it? What if I'm not home? What if I'm away? Will you know how to do these things? I want a woman who's self-reliant, who learns skills that will support herself as well as me. I also want a woman who sees me as her provider and hero. Someone who she knows she can depend on. Not her boss, not her money bank, not her boy toy. No, I want her to see me as someone who will support her, care for her, hold her, and protect her. It's funny, I often daydream not about being loved by thousands of people or by winning all my fights, but by fighting and even dying for someone else. I want to be someone else's hero, and that means being willing to give of myself. And I want the woman who I get with to recognize that in me and know I'd never do anything to hurt her or let her be hurt. I want her to trust me, because trust is vital in relationships. And finally, I think one of the most important things, I want a woman who shares my faith and standards, who can keep me honest, upright, and resolute. I'm of the opinion that men, as a general rule, are naturally aggressive, assertive, dominating, and in many ways competitive. Men are, in a sense, beasts. But that's a good thing. It's a good thing to be strong and powerful and aggressive as a man. And the woman's job is to tame the man, to find the man within the beast. Because when you meet your significant other, they're going to see you for your flaws. They're going to see that you're not perfect, just as you're going to see that they're not. I mean, I have flaws. I have a short temper. I have a thin skin sometimes. Sometimes I don't react to criticism well. I have flaws. I really do. And I want a woman who can see my flaws, love me in spite of them, and help mold me into a better person by her presence. I'm of the opinion that men are in need of a strong woman figure. When you don't have a strong and supportive female figure in your life for a man, men tend to let their aggression dominate themselves. I think there's no shame in letting a woman love you, flaws and all, and help you become better than your flaws. And I'm well aware that what I seek and what I've described may very well be a fantasy. Such women out there are rare, and I'm fully aware that I may have to compromise to a certain degree. But it is because I have standards that I am often lonely. Lark too. I long for a day when men and women held themselves and others to higher standards. I feel like that if more men and women had higher standards for themselves and who they date or have relations with, it would be a happier world. I think one of the problems in today's day and age is people have been told, you know what? Have sex with who you want. Have relations with who you want. Because that's empowering. That's liberating. That's true sexual freedom. And don't worry about the responsibilities. Don't worry about the consequences of that. Don't worry about the problems with living that way. Because you know what? It's your right to live how you want. And to me, that is not only very sad, but it is very destructive. Because a day is going to come where you're no longer young and beautiful and wild and free. And you got to ask yourself, who are you going to lean on? Who are you going to depend on when you reach that point? Who's going to be there for you? If you spent your whole life throwing yourself on top of any person, man, woman, what have you, who could satisfy your urges, then who's going to be with you in the end when you no longer have that same energy and when people aren't throwing themselves on you? You know, I think that's a testament to where we are as a society today, and it's a sad place. And I'm sure that a lot of people would say, "Oh, you're prudish. You're speaking from a Christian perspective." Blah 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 blah. But you know what? Even if I am these things that you describe me as, I would rather be happy in my older days with a woman who I know loved me for me and saved herself for me, where I know that's true love, than live having sexual relations with any woman that caught my fancy just because we could. Just because no one told us no. I think no is something we need to hear more often. I think standards are something we should hold ourselves to. If you can't have standards for yourself and for what you have and standards in others, because we have standards for others. We should anyway. And where are we going in life, you know? I know that turned into a much deeper thing than I expected, but this is what happens to me when I'm tired. I start thinking deeply. I think that that's where I would stand. That's where I think I am in terms of relationships and women. I respect women in a huge way. I know some people say that I'm a simp. The truth is, I respect women. I love women, and it's because I do that I have standards for them. You know, because I want them to love themselves. I want them to love me. I want them to love themselves. I want them to see where our relationship could be. I want them to expect a lot of me because I would expect a lot of them. Hold each other to high standards. Like that's the way relationships work, you know? It's not just about appearances. I mean, it's important to care about your appearances, but it's also important to care about where you're going to be and where you're headed. I don't want a girl who's just going to say, "Oh, well, he gives me money, he cooks for me, he cleans for me, and I give him sex in return." That's not how this works. That's really not how this works. I've never believed that. I believe I provide, for sure, but I believe the woman supports. You know? Anyway, enough about that. That's my question. I want to end this video by saying this. I thank you to all of you who got this far with me and for watching this far. I want to apologize that this video was a little bit more serious and heavy than what I normally release. I feel bad about that, but I wanted to be honest with you guys too. April is going to be a trying month. There's going to be a lot happening this month, and I don't know exactly what all will change. I don't know what you can expect exactly, which is weird because I used to be able to expect it pretty well, but with this new job and the way things have been going, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm still going strong with the channel. I'm still excited to release new content. I'm still very happy that we're nearing 30,000 subs. I mean, that's awesome, guys. I think that's fantastic. Thank you guys so much for helping me reach that point. Because it's because of you guys that I got there. So know that I love you guys. I love making content for this channel. I'm so excited to keep doing it. Pray for me and for Lark as we move through this very difficult month of the year. It's going to be crazy, but we're going to get through it, right? That's the key here. We're going to get through it. It's just one more month, right? Let's keep pushing. Let's keep fighting. Thank you guys so much for staying with me, and I will see you, as always, in my next video. Take care.